Ukraine's constitution of 1996 stated that Ukraine is a semi-presidential republic. In 2000, President Leonid Kuchma made his first attempt to amend the constitution and limit the powers of the members of parliament by limiting the number of MPs to 300, revoking their immunity, and creating a two-chamber parliament with the power to dissolve it. These changes were not discussed in the parliament since the president put these issues on a national referendum. Citizens voted in favor of the changes, but the amendments were not forced into power. The Orange Revolution was the push needed for constitutional change. In 2004, when the tensions were rising in Kyiv, both sides of the conflict agreed for a revote of the second tour of presidential elections. This was one of the demands of the Maidan. Simultaneously, a new constitution was accepted that gave parliament more powers. The president lost his right to fire or appoint members of the government, heads of local state administrations, and the prosecutor general. Also, the tenure for members of parliament is extended from 4 to 5 years. After winning the 2010 presidential elections, Viktor Yanukovych reverted the changes to the constitution and returned the 1996 constitution in place, expanding his powers. He managed to accomplish this through the Constitutional Court, circumventing parliament, as it is necessary by law. This was one of the main steps in power usurpation. Authoritarian rule caused resistance. The revolution of dignity began in Ukraine. One of the demands was a return to parliamentary presidential form of government. After the tragic events in Kyiv on February 21st, the parliament adopted the changes to the constitution, and the next day, Viktor Yanukovych fled the country. During the presidency of Petro Poroshenko, amendments to the constitution were proposed that did not concern the political system. The first change was decentralization. After the adoption of the changes in the first reading in August 2015, a tragedy occurred under the building of Parliament. Opponents of decentralization threw a grenade at the National Guard and killed 4 soldiers. The decision was made not to amend the text of the constitution, but the reform itself was continued. In 2016, a large-scale reform of the Constitution in terms of justice was adopted. The main innovations are the return of the 3-tiered judicial system, the creation of the High Council of Justice, mandatory reattestation, as well as the removal of judge immunity. In early 2019, Ukraine's strategic course for membership in the EU and NATO was enshrined in the Constitution. Reported by Yulia Krychkova, UATV.